Mama, are you waiting for everything to be perfect before you finally take action? Today, we're talking about what it really means to burn perfectionism, take brave action, and start creating the freedom you deserve, even if it's messy. Hey, mamas, welcome back to the channel. So tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Have you ever said something to yourself like, once I find the perfect brand colors, or maybe once I lose 10 pounds, or maybe when I have more time, then I'll finally go for it? Here's the truth. Perfection is the thief of progress. And the longer you wait for it, the further away your dreams are going to get. Now, with that being said, you don't have to beat yourself up and feel bad about it because we all go through this, all of us. When I was starting Mama's Building Businesses, actually, let's take it back. About a year and a half before I started Mama's Building Businesses, I had the idea for this community. I had the idea. I knew the type of resources I wanted to provide. I knew the type of value I wanted to add, the type of people I wanted to get involved. And still, I sat on the idea. I really did that because I was scared. I had a lot of fear. I had fear around making it perfect. I was over planning. I was terrified to be on video. I also questioned really my own self-worth, like the experiences that I have in business, do they bring enough value that somebody else would actually listen? Would it help somebody? What kind of impact would it really have? Or what if it didn't take off, right? So I was thinking all of these different things. And the community itself is not just this YouTube channel. So a year ago, I actually made a Facebook group. I recorded a nice little welcome video. I planned a month's worth of content. Then I got scared and I pumped the brakes. I stopped taking action. And as far as the YouTube channel itself, I actually had wanted to do a YouTube channel way before I thought of the idea for Mama's Building Businesses. But I always just put it off and put it off and put it off because I wanted it to be perfect. And at that time, I really wasn't sure what I wanted the overall channel to be or what my ideal audience was, which is kind of crazy because I actually have a note in my phone, like in Apple Notes, where I have literally been making a list of talking points and things that I wanted to put in video probably for a couple of years. But I let fear hold me back and really, really procrastinated. So, fast forward to a couple of weeks ago when I finally started this channel, and you could look back and see when I posted the first video. And the day before that, I finally just got tired of my own crap. I got sick of myself. I got sick of my procrastination and my excuses and my, need for perfectionism. And I told myself, I'm going to start this channel. I'm going to record a video today. I'm going to post it tomorrow. And I did that. And you know what? It wasn't perfect, but it worked. And what has happened since then is kind of insane to me. I have been posting regularly. I have had incredible conversations with amazing, amazing mamas who are absolutely killing it in business. They're changing the trajectory of their families' lives and also now have provided a platform to interview really incredible women, give them a place to share their story and to share their business. And with that, have received constant confirmation that there is a real need out there for mamas in business to have a community where they can learn from other people's experiences, they can tap into resources, and they can grow their business in a more efficient way to create the freedom they desire in their lives. But now, as I look back on the last couple of weeks and all of the incredibly positive things that have come out of just starting, the one thing that I do think is, what if I had just started sooner? How much further ahead would I be now? And how many more lives would this have touched and women would this have helped had I done it a year and a half ago. That's when I realized perfection isn't the goal, progress is. And that brings me to my first point, that done is better than perfect. And here's the reality: perfection creates paralysis. When you have an idea and you think, okay, well, how can I make this perfect? I want to get it the best I can before I do it. It puts you into a whirlwind of thoughts where you are literally on a hamster wheel trying to guess at ways you can make it better. And on the flip side of that, when you take imperfect action and just focus on executing and getting it done, you are able to now make decisions to improve it based on experience. It creates real momentum to where you're actually doing and improving to create and bring that idea to life. I speak to so many mamas on a weekly basis, and I hear so many of the same things over and over. I want you to think about this. Have you ever said to yourself or heard somebody say something like, I'll start that business when the kids get older. I'll record that content when I have better lighting. I'll share my story when I feel ready. Let me tell you something. Those are just excuses that are masquerading as perfectionism. So many of the people that we admire, especially in the online business space, people like Alex and Layla Hormozy, Cody Sanchez, Myron Golden, Ryan Pineda, if you ever hear any of them and they speak, and you know what, they're excellent communicators, they're extremely successful, they're incredible business people, amazing networkers, right? Like all of these great things that we feel about them. None of them started out perfect. What they did was they all were willing to take imperfect action until they had enough practice to make it sound amazing and make somebody like us look at them and be like, oh, you know what? They're perfect. They're great. They're super successful. They took imperfect, consistent action. But the key is they started. I want you to think of it like this: you can't edit a blank page. You cannot improve something that doesn't exist. Okay, so I want you to think of this. Think of one thing that you have been delaying. Something that maybe you've been pushing off, maybe you've been waiting till it's perfect, maybe you've just been procrastinating. So this could be something like choosing brand colors, building a website, networking with somebody, inviting somebody to coffee, starting a business, any of those things. What is something that you personally have been delaying? Now, what I want you to do is think, if I had done that one thing 6 months ago, it's kind of crazy when you really sit down and think about it. And here's the thing: perfection doesn't just stop your progress, it also blocks your blessings. Which brings us to point number two: perfection blocks progress and income. Perfection, a lot of times, feels like we're being productive. So let's say you're trying to get your website perfect and you spend 6 hours tweaking it, rewriting copy, redesigning pages, changing the layout. It feels like you're making real progress, but what it is just procrastination in disguise. A lot of times we create procrastination in our lives, and it is typically fueled by fear: the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough. And it happens to all of us at different times. I have seen so many truly capable women sit on really great business ideas because they don't want to launch without it being absolutely perfect. And the perfectionism costs them time, it costs them money, it costs them momentum, and it costs them confidence. Clarity and success come from doing. You cannot get more clear on the direction you're supposed to go unless you're already on the trail. One of the things that I really focused on when I was procrastinating about this YouTube channel was whether or not I wanted to invest money into recording in a rental space so that I had like a nice studio setup. And it would have been a lot of money without really monetizing this in any way. But I was so focused on the aesthetic. I wanted it to look perfect. But I realized something: the world doesn't need your perfect. The world needs your real. It needs your stories, it needs your lessons, and it needs your heart, just as it is, because that is the gift that you bring to the table. And when you choose to act with courage instead of waiting for confidence, everything changes. Which brings me to point number 3. Brave action builds confidence. Courage always comes before confidence, not the other way around. I want to tell you a story about my son. So, some of you know my son plays football. And before his last season, his coach changed his position, like straight up to something he had never played before. And he was going to go up against bigger guys. It was going to be more hands on. And the day that it was changed, he called me and he was bummed. And basically, I had a conversation with him about, what he thought about it, what he was going to do. And something that he said to me that just made me so proud was he said, "Well, Mama, I'm a part of the team and I'm going to play the position that the coach thinks I should play and that the team needs me to play." So he went all in. He started practicing for the position. Now we're at the end of the season. It turns out he absolutely loves it. And he did a fantastic job. It is probably the position that he'll play in college. But what he did was he just went out there and did it and instantly was able to start building confidence and improving his skills in that area. If he had waited on the sidelines and just sulked around and thought about, well, I'm going to wait until I'm confident, I'm going to think about how I can get better, he never would have. And so I just feel like that is a really, really good example of how action builds confidence. Because by the end of the season, I mean, honestly, after a couple weeks into the season, he was like, "I love this. I never want to go back to my old position." And he was seriously talking about playing this position in college. And I just think it's such an incredible testament because when you just get out on the field and you do it and you do the thing, whatever that is, what it does is it allows you to get reps in, to get that practice, to build your confidence, and to continue to get better and improve yourself. And that only comes with courage. He didn't go out on the field because of confidence, he didn't have it yet. He was a little scared of the position, to be honest with you, but he had the courage to go out and do what he was called to do, and it turned out incredible. So, what I want to encourage you to do today is to take one small step, one small action towards whatever it is that you've been procrastinating about, even if it's uncomfortable. And I want you to remember every single time that you show up scared, you're teaching your brain that you can trust yourself. And if you're feeling really crazy, I want you right now in the comments to type one thing that you have been procrastinating about that you're going to commit to doing this week. Not next week, not next month, not next year. Type it below and do it this week. Mama, listen, if there's one thing I know, it's that perfectionism will always whisper that you're not ready, but you are. Done is better than perfect. Brave is better than ready, and messy action will move you further along than waiting ever will. So today, burn your idea of perfection. Freedom loves momentum, mama. So take one brave step today. And don't forget, in the comments, I want you to drop one thing that you're going to commit to this week or share one messy action that you've recently taken. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more Mamas Building Businesses, where we talk about mindset, growth, and creating a life that you don't need a vacation from. You belong here.